This is happening in Los Angeles right now, and it's only getting worse. 7 million people are in serious danger. Roads are turning into rivers. Homes are being evacuated, and meteorologists are calling this one of the most dangerous storms to hit Southern California in years. This isn't your typical rainstorm. This is what scientists call a pineapple express, and if you don't know what that means, you need to pay attention. What's happening in Los Angeles right now could become our new normal. Today, we're breaking down the massive atmospheric event that's currently pummeling Los Angeles and putting millions of lives at risk. Governor Gavin Newsom has declared a state of emergency. Over 300 homes have been evacuated. The Los Angeles River, which is usually a calm stream, has risen from just over 1 foot to more than 7 feet in a single day. And this storm is not done yet. But here's what makes this really alarming. This could be the first of 3 consecutive storm systems. We are talking about a weather pattern that could last well into the new year. So what exactly is a pineapple express? Why is this storm so dangerous? And most importantly, what does this mean for the future? Let's dive in. First, let us talk about what is actually happening here. You have probably heard the term Pineapple Express on weather reports. It sounds almost fun, like a tropical vacation, but the reality is far from it. A Pineapple Express is a specific type of atmospheric river. Imagine a river in the sky, literally. These are long, concentrated bands of water vapor that flow through the atmosphere, carrying massive amounts of moisture from the tropics all the way to the coast. Here's how it works. Picture warm, humid air sitting over Hawaii and the tropical Pacific Ocean. This air is absolutely saturated with moisture. We are talking about billions of gallons of water vapor. Now imagine that moisture being picked up by strong winds in the upper atmosphere and transported thousands of miles northeast toward California. When this tropical moisture slams into the mountains and the cooler air along the California coast, the water vapor condenses and falls as rain. And not just a little rain, we are talking about the equivalent of several months' worth of precipitation falling in just a few days. That is the Pineapple Express. But here is what makes this particular storm so different from regular rain: the sheer volume and intensity. Normal winter storms in California might bring 1 inch or 2 inches of rain over a few days. This Pineapple Express is different. We are looking at 4 to 8 inches along the coast and valleys, with some foothill and mountain areas potentially seeing 8 to 12 inches or more. And it is not just about the total amount, it is about the rate. During the peak of this storm, rainfall rates could exceed 1 inch per hour. That is enough to overwhelm storm drains, trigger flash floods, and cause devastating mudslides. But why is this moment so extreme? 3 reasons. First, this is a warm storm system. Unlike typical winter storms that bring cold air and snow at higher elevations, this atmospheric river is pulling subtropical moisture from the south. That means heavy rain instead of snow. Rain creates runoff much faster than snow. Second, the timing could not be worse. Los Angeles just experienced one of its wettest Novembers on record, which means the ground is already saturated. When saturated soil is hit with more intense rainfall, it cannot absorb any more water. That is when you get flooding and landslides. And third, this is critical. Many areas are still recovering from recent wildfires. The Palisades fire earlier this year destroyed vegetation that would normally help absorb rainfall and hold soil in place. Without that natural protection, burn scar areas are at extreme risk for debris flows. These are not just mudslides. They are fast-moving walls of mud, rocks, and debris that can destroy everything in their path. So what's happening on the ground right now? LAX recorded its wettest Christmas Eve on record. Let that sink in, wettest on record. People woke up on Christmas morning not to presents and family gatherings, but to evacuation warnings and flooded streets. The Los Angeles Police Department responded to around 100 car accidents in a single day. Major highways, including sections of Interstate 5, had to be shut down for hours due to flooding. One driver captured footage from their car showing the freeway completely inundated with water, looking more like a river than a road. In San Bernardino County, brown muddy water from debris flows intruded into residential areas and homes on Christmas Eve. Fire departments had to rescue people trapped in their cars and evacuate families from their homes. Officials said they were grateful there was only 1 minor injury reported, but emphasized that many families could not be home together for Christmas because of the storm's impacts. In Malibu, a mudslide on Topanga Canyon Boulevard forced road closures. This is exactly what meteorologists warned about. The combination of saturated soil, steep terrain, and intense rainfall creating the perfect conditions for landslides. And remember those celebrity-filled neighborhoods like Pacific Palisades and Mandeville Canyon? They are under evacuation warnings. These are areas that were already devastated by wildfires earlier this year, making them especially vulnerable to debris flows. Mayor Karen Bass mobilized additional resources, including heavy-duty fire engines and swift water rescue teams. She urged residents to take the storm seriously and avoid unnecessary travel. The National Weather Service's Dr. Ariel Cohen did not mince words. This is a very dangerous storm. Widespread significant flooding will likely occur, especially in and around higher terrain. But here is what is really concerning. Officials say they took a surgical approach to evacuations. Instead of evacuating entire neighborhoods, they focused on homes at the highest risk, those near hillsides and burn scars. More than 300 homes received evacuation orders or warnings, and while some residents chose to leave, others decided to stay. Some questioned whether they should proceed with holiday plans. One resident asked whether there would be flooding and whether they should even come up. Weather officials had a clear answer. They urged anyone planning to be on the roads during the Christmas holiday to reconsider their plans. Now, here is where things get even more serious. This is not just one storm. Meteorologists are warning this could be the first of a sequence. One forecaster put it bluntly, this might be the first of 2 or 3 storm systems, and if that does happen, impacts could become more concerning for that period of time, possibly lasting as we close into the new year. Here is the timeline. The peak of the current storm hit Wednesday, Christmas Day, with extremely heavy rain and wind speeds reaching 40 to 50 miles per hour at lower elevations and up to 80 miles per hour in mountain areas. Thursday brought a second burst of heavy rain and strong winds, causing more holiday travel disruptions. Friday and Saturday, the rain is expected to taper off to sporadic showers. But here's the kicker. There is still a lot of energy and moisture sitting in the Pacific Ocean. Northern California is already being hammered by a parade of storms, and that same pattern could return to Southern California. The San Francisco Bay Area saw rivers beginning to swell, with potential for rock slides and landslides to interfere with travel plans. The National Weather Service in Sacramento warned of potential major mountain holiday travel impacts. What are the specific risks still ahead? Flash flooding remains a major concern, with rainfall rates potentially exceeding 1 inch per hour and saturated ground conditions. Urban flooding from clogged storm drains is almost guaranteed. The Fox Weather Center placed the Los Angeles metropolitan area under a level 3 out of 5 risk for flash flooding. Mudslides and debris flows are the second critical threat. Officials are closely monitoring mudslide-prone areas like Mulholland Drive, which has a history of slope failures. Nearly 2 years ago, heavy rain triggered slides that left at least one home uninhabitable and forced long-term road closures. One resident said it was especially worrying because it washed out Mulholland and closed it for many months for repairs. Wind damage is also a serious issue. With gusts up to 80 miles per hour in mountain passes and 40 to 60 miles per hour across lower elevations, there is a high risk of downed trees and power outages. Thousands of residents already lost power during the initial wave of the storm. And finally, there's the burn scar danger. Areas recently impacted by wildfires face the highest risk of debris flows. These flows can move faster than a person can run, which is why evacuation warnings are so critical. The National Weather Service warned that there will almost certainly be numerous mudslides, severe flooding from heavy rain or clogged storm drains, and possible debris flows near recent burn scars. Now let's talk about the bigger picture, because this isn't just about one storm. Atmospheric rivers have always been a natural part of California's weather. In fact, they typically provide 30 to 50% of California's annual precipitation. But here's what's changing. These events are becoming more intense and more frequent. Climate scientists have been warning about this for years. As the atmosphere warms, it can hold more moisture, about 7% more for every degree Celsius of warming. That means when atmospheric rivers do form, they are carrying more water vapor than they used to. We are also seeing shifts in atmospheric patterns that make these systems more likely to stall over California rather than quickly moving through. When an atmospheric river stalls, instead of getting rain over a day or two, you get it over 4 or 5 days. That is what is happening right now in Los Angeles. Another factor is the wildfire connection. California has been experiencing more frequent and intense wildfires in recent years, partly due to longer, hotter, drier summers. These fires leave behind burn scars that are extremely vulnerable during heavy rain events. It is a vicious cycle. Climate change contributes to more severe fires, which create more vulnerable landscapes, and those landscapes suffer greater damage when these intense storms hit. One meteorologist said there is a lot of energy and moisture in the Pacific Ocean right now. That is not just about this particular storm, it is about a pattern that could persist. Brian Allegretto, who writes weather forecasts for Palisades Tahoe Ski Resort, said he has been nervous about this system because of its intensity and the difficulty of predicting exactly where it will track. Computer forecasting models have been split on outcomes, and that split is itself a sign of how unusual and complex this weather pattern is. The question is not really whether we will see more of these events, it is how we prepare for them. So what can you actually do to stay safe during events like this? If you're in an evacuation warning area, take it seriously. Prepare an emergency kit with essentials, water, non-perishable food, a flashlight, batteries, first aid supplies, important documents, and medications. Have a plan for where you will go if you need to evacuate quickly. Clear your drains and gutters before storms hit. This seems simple, but clogged drains can cause localized flooding around your property. Make sure storm drains near your home are also clear of leaves and debris. If you live near a recent wildfire burn area, be especially vigilant. Debris flows can occur with little warning and move extremely fast. Do not wait for mandatory evacuation orders. If conditions look dangerous, leave early. Secure outdoor items. With wind gusts potentially reaching 50 miles per hour or higher, patio furniture, trash cans, holiday decorations, and anything else not tied down can become projectiles. Secure or store items indoors when possible. Never drive through flooded roads. This is critical. Turn around, don't drown. Just 6 inches of moving water can knock you off your feet, and 1 foot of water can sweep away most vehicles. You cannot tell how deep the water is or whether the road beneath is still intact. Stay informed. Sign up for emergency alerts through systems like notifila.org. Follow local weather forecasts and official emergency management accounts on social media. Know the difference between a watch, when conditions are favorable for dangerous weather, and a warning, when dangerous weather is happening or imminent. And finally, avoid unnecessary travel during severe weather. I know it's hard during the holidays, but as officials emphasized, your life is more valuable than any gathering or event. So here's the bottom line. What's happening in Los Angeles right now is a glimpse of our climate future. These atmospheric rivers, these Pineapple Express events, are not going away. In fact, all the scientific evidence suggests they will become more frequent and more intense as our climate continues to change. 7 million people are currently at risk from this storm. Hundreds of families spent Christmas Day evacuated from their homes. The economic damage will likely run into the hundreds of millions of dollars. This is also a moment to recognize how communities come together. First responders worked through the holidays. Neighbors helped neighbors evacuate. Emergency management teams coordinated complex operations to keep people safe. The question isn't whether we can handle one storm, it's whether we are prepared for a future where these events become routine. Are we investing in infrastructure that can handle more intense rainfall? Are we managing wildfire risk to reduce vulnerable burn scar areas? Are we building homes and communities in ways that account for these new climate realities? Now I want to hear from you. Do you think events like this are going to become more common? Have you experienced extreme weather where you live? What do you think we should be doing differently to prepare? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you learned something new about atmospheric rivers and Pineapple Express storms, hit that like button. And subscribe to stay updated on important climate and weather topics like this one. Stay safe out there, everyone. And to everyone in Southern California, my thoughts are with you. Be careful, follow official guidance, and look out for each other. I'll see you in the next video.